Good communication skills, good, clear and effective judgment writing, dealing properly and fairly with individuals. These are just some of a judge's daily challenges.
A daily challenge of sitting as a judge is the unexpected, whether it be lists which are too long, whether it be work moved from other courts. Of course, case management means the directions and bundles should arrive in good time, and of course, much of the time they do. But often the papers will arrive very much at the last moment, or indeed after you've started the hearing. So I think an element of calmness is critical. Time management is critical. And these days you really need to drill down to the issues in any case, because once you've started doing that, you can focus on what's important in that hearing and then deal with the work in a timely manner. But it is a challenge throughout the day. You need to review where you're at. I sit in the magistrates' court where work can be very unpredictable at the beginning of the day. Work will come in from other courts. And of course, it's not just about you. The advocates, of course, may suddenly receive a file which they weren't expecting. The prosecutor might be asked to do a trial which he or she hasn't prepared for. So it also means you need to be sensitive to those around you as well, to make sure that they can be effective in the work they're doing.
Judgment writing is a key part of a judge's role, and it's an essential skill that judges should possess. There's no hard or fast rule as to how a judgment should be written. Each judge will have his or her own style.
As soon as the parties walk into the room in a social security hearing, I immediately explain to them what's going to happen. I find that if they understand the process of the hearing, because most people haven't been to one before, then it enables me to effectively control what's going to happen more easily should somebody become overwhelmed with emotion. But I have to balance that with the need to ensure that everybody whose voice ought to be heard is heard. And that may sometimes mean identifying somebody who's vulnerable, or trying to allow somebody who's got a lot that they want to say it as soon as possible, because when they've done that, then they may be able to settle down, so that I can ensure that we stick to the issues that we need to deal with in the case, but also manage the hearing within the time allowed, and ensure that everybody's able to take part, but that the hearing is dealt with in a fair way.
A good judgment is one that is easy to read. It's important that the reader follows what the issues in the case were, the matters to be determined, the legislation applied, and why the decision has been made. It should not be overly lengthy and complex.
One of the key skills of a judge is managing the hearing within the time constraints and allowing witnesses and parties to give the evidence that they've come to give, but ensuring that they stay focused when they're giving the evidence. And that might mean interrupting somebody who's telling me something that I know is not relevant to to the issues in the case. So politely and calmly, but with authority, interrupting them, and then nudging and thanking them for telling me that, but nudging them back to where I need them to be in terms of the evidence that I need them to give.
There will be times when you're going to feel under pressure, and sometimes it's best just to take a few minutes out. That may mean, even though you've come into court at 10 o'clock, just to show you're ready, that you will rise and have an opportunity to read the papers. There may be times when there is intense pressure on you to make a decision there and then. And of course, you have that in summary proceedings in the magistrates' court, where often the decision really needs to be made now. But that doesn't mean you don't retire. It may mean on a difficult case, where a novel point, for example, has come up, that you don't give your decision there and then. It may be that you go and speak to colleagues if you're perhaps a little bit stuck on the law, or it may be that you'll give your reasons later after you've had an opportunity to read the papers properly and reflect. The important thing is that the decision has to be fair, and everyone has to know that you've given due consideration. And that means sometimes not making the decision right there and then.
The extent to which a judge can descend into the arena also varies from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. Some of the tribunals operate in a much more inquisitorial way, and therefore the engagement of the judge in the questioning process is much more normal and approved, whereas in the Crown Court, for instance, or the County Court, it is a much more adversarial system, and the engagement of the judge in questioning needs to be done much more carefully and measured